All right, so we've got everything prepared. We've got the chicken ready to rock and roll. It's been marinating for about 36 hours. And now I'm gonna check the temperature. So got the temperature about 350 degrees, which is really good. I tried to choke the coal down a bit. That way we're not burning on an open fire. It's more that letting the coals work through the process. So I'm also gonna close this dampener box on the side and see what happens. And just to give you an idea on the utensils I'm working with, that's there to help me move the coal around. But I've got just a fork, barbecue fork, and barbecue tongs just to move it around. So see the stack is wide open. I'm just letting go any of that soot or smoke, just kind of letting it breathe a bit. And then as soon as I feel comfortable, I think it's up to what? Almost 375 degrees now. But as soon as the chicken goes on, it'll go down. So just letting all that stuff just clear out of it. So I'm just kind of cleaning it. So it's more baptism by fire, if you will. And then what I'm gonna do is throw the chicken on. So stick around, it's gonna be nice. Welcome back to Just a Rad Life. And I've got the birds out. I got the birds out of the refrigerator that we had them in the garage. So to the left is the dry rod and to the right is the wet rod. Now the difference here is one is darker than the other. And the experiment that we're doing today is there a difference in the taste? Meaning, is one hotter? Did the jerk seasoning soak into the chicken? How long do they take? So as I indicated before, and I'll swing back around to the fire pit. Ooh, those coals look nice. So we're gonna do the dry on the left, the wet on the right, but the coals are pretty much ready to go in there. Two separate areas, although they'll both be enjoying the flavor of the smoke, and the smoke will help render off the fat, and you'll see how much smoke this actually kicks up. So this is the really cool thing about this. Having jerk chicken right off of a fire is amazing. So give me a moment. I'm gonna put the chicken on and we'll go back to having a conversation about what we're actually doing here, trying to enjoy the flavors and that. But this is jerk chicken, dry versus wet. Okay, so this is our dry versus wet experiment. And as you can see, I've got the wet to the right and the dry to the left. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna identify them. Just give me a minute here. I'm just gonna back up and grab something. So I'm gonna identify them. And I'm gonna identify them by scoring the leg a little bit. Just gonna put an X right by the leg. So I'm just gonna score them just so we can identify what it is. Hopefully, yeah, that's actually better. So I'm gonna score that. So we know that one with the X on it. And you'll be able to see it because the skin will burn away on it. But that one with the X on it will be the dry. And then the wet doesn't have anything on it. Let's bring this wing back up here for a bit. We don't really want the wing to get cooked right now. That cooks pretty fast if you don't pay attention to it. Now my process, the chicken actually falls apart while you're cooking it. So that's another reason why I scored what I scored. But so we'll keep an eye on it and make sure the dry stays on one side, the wet stays on the other. But typically there's an equal amount of coal behind them, and they're both bone side down on the grill. So we're gonna get a really good cook out of this. Now this is gonna be a really nice cook. Look at that. So the fire's going, and got my backup fork just in case. So I've got a fork there. This one is not, it doesn't touch food, it just moves around coal. The one sitting in there touches food, so just to give you an idea. No, it's not touch nothing, so, you know. Anyhow, we're gonna let it smoke, so we're gonna give it about maybe 15 minutes and then I'll come back and check it. So stick around. This is the dry versus wet experiment with jerk chicken. All right, so we've had the chicken on for approximately 15 minutes. And here's a slow process that we've got. If you can see the juices now coming off of both of them pretty much. And I believe I figured out a way how to identify what's what. So we cut them in two different styles. So the ones with the legs turning in are the wet rub on the right hand side, and the ones with the legs turning out is the dry rub on the left hand side. So we're doing our thing here, and they're just, like I said, slowly cooking. We're letting that fat just drip off of it, and there's no rush here. The more smoke and the more love you give this is the better it tastes. So stick around. I'm gonna give it another 15 minutes and I'll be back. Dry versus wet experiment on Justaradlife. All right, so 15 minutes has passed and we're gonna take a look at the chicken. So on the right hand side is the wet rub. On the left hand side is the dry rub. And one thing I did notice, we did cut them a little different. Hopefully this won't mess with the experiment because they all soak the same and they're getting the same treatment. But if you notice on the left hand side where the dry rub is, the legs point outwards, and on the wet rub the legs point inward. So what I'm going to do, they've been on there for about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to turn it. Ooh, look at that on the wet. I'm going to turn it and let some of this fat render off. So probably a good time to turn it. That's a really nice color for the wet rub or for jerk chicken, period. And as you can see, like I said, I slowly cooked it. So you can see the leg quarters separating from the breast and the wing portion. And then let's go through this side for a minute. Whoa, that piece just fell off. Whoa, you can see how that just kind of came over. But I'm gonna leave that there and I'm gonna cook it. And this isn't as loose yet, but I guarantee you it'll get there for the dry rub. It's just probably how the coal is interacting, but like I said, we just got to soldier it. Go right, left, meaning move it around in the grill. But we've got all that skin now working its way. So stand by. This is the dry versus wet. Ooh, look at that. Flames kicking up. I got to close it soon. But stand by. This is the dry versus wet experiment with Jamaican style jerk chicken. I have fun. Lock that one down. Pull that out. All right, so we've turned the chicken over on the skin side down and we're just gonna check it out now. Watch that pretty smoke. Pretty smoke. Nice. Look at all the juices coming out of the dry rub and the juices coming out of the wet rub. So I'm gonna take a quick look at them and try this with the camera in my hand and turn it. Whoa, watch all the juice come off and see how the leg quarter just fell off. So what I'm gonna do is pull it and then turn it to a lower heat over here. But yeah. So I'm gonna do my thing here with this. Wow. That's just really moist and juicy. Look at that. That just pull off real easy. Real easy. So I'm gonna turn this around. And I'm gonna move that to the inside because I don't really want it to bun up now. I want it to do its smoke thing, its slow smoke thing. So I'm gonna move that here. And in all fairness, this fire ain't as tough as the other side. So I'm just gonna move this here. Whoa, that one gets soft too. But it don't get as brown. You see how it just pop off like that? I'm gonna try a piece of this now. Don't try this at home, man. Cold hot. I'm just gonna move it there, let it bubble for a bit. And I'm gonna let this thing do its thing. You know, but all of that broke up and ready to go. And this is the dry rub now on the right hand side, you know. So this is it, and I'm gonna try this. I love it when it comes off with a coal like that. But nice juicy piece. You gotta sample your stuff. But yeah, that is nice. That is like the flavor of the dry rub. It's in there already, you know. And I know I'm cheating. It's more about the marinade and how the marinade soaks in the chicken. But this is really good for that little piece that flew off. I had to try it, I'm sorry. You know, but this is one of our favorite things in this household, which is jerk chicken. So stick around. I got the wet right there. Just taking in that smoke. And I have the dry right here, utilizing the same smoke from the wet. So this is gonna be nice, man. This is just a simple little jerk chicken experiment for flavor to see which one holds the flavor better, the dry or the wet. I just ate a piece of dry and the flavor in it was nice. You can taste that pepper, that heat, and man, I want to dive in for another piece, but I just gotta wait. So see them here again, the wet to the left now, the dry to the right. All them juice is coming out of the dry right now. Look at that. So I'm gonna close on the lid and let this bubble for another 15 minutes. Stay tuned, it's gonna be good. All right, welcome back. These guys figured out they ain't getting jerked today, so let me show you where we're at with the jerk chicken. So we've got the wet rub now to the left, just doing its thing, soaking. And wow, look at it dry. The dry just broke apart too. So I'm gonna get the dry cooked proper. Wow, look at how that just pulls off. So I'm gonna put the bone side down there. That's the breast, and that really looks well. So I'm gonna put that on lower heat, skin side down. And then let's see if this pulls off too. Yeah, man, that just pulls off. So these are two 5-pound chickens that I rubbed, one with wet, one with dry, and it's kind of working them right now. You see the spine and the chicken neck is on that side as well. I'm surprised the breast broke apart on that. Let me try the breast on the wet side. Yeah, man. The breast is pulling apart nice, but I'm gonna leave it together for all intents and purposes. That way I can at least identify what's what. But this is really doing its thing on that slow, low heat. So I'm gonna close the lid again and run it probably for another 15 minutes. But this is the experiment. Dry versus wet. Jerk chicken, Jamaican style. All right, so we're back to the jerk chicken now. And if you remember, everything kind of fell off. So I've had it on there for another 15 minutes. Like I said, I'm in no rush. Wow, look at that wing. Look at the texture in that. The breast from the wing is really nice. I'm gonna turn this one with the chicken neck and everything. That's kind of nice. I think I'm gonna push it over into this area and let it soak. And then the leg quarters from the dry rub. Ooh, that's a nice golden brown. I think I was able to accomplish the color that I seen when a friend of mine had cooked it. So I'm gonna leave this on for a bit. And here is the wet rub. I'm gonna slide this over here. So the wet rub is kind of doing its thing, carrying its smoke, but just a little experiment. Wet jerk chicken versus dry jerk chicken. So stay tuned. We're about to plate this and eat it. All right, so we're back. This is the taste test. I got my neighbor Sean here. Sean, say what's up.
What's up?
So we're about to do the experiment, the dry versus wet rub, and cavemen here, and we're just gonna tear it off the grill, chop it up, and sample it. All right, so just be patient. All right, so first lick we're gonna do, if you look at that, that is the wet rub. So I'm gonna chop this up on a chopping block. Sean and I are gonna tear it up for a bit and just give you our honest opinion. And we just wanna know flavor. It's not really a contest, it's an experiment because everybody likes jerk chicken a certain way, but this is how we're doing it today. All right, so we chop this bad boy up.
So how apropos, it's starting to rain and we're eating wet rub.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so nice.
Good heat.
Yeah, good heat for sure, right?
And it's moist. The rain makes it moister.
Yeah. We're literally out in the rain eating jerk chicken, but I'm good with that because I've cooked jerk chicken in the rain before, and it's not a bad thing. It's a good look, I guess.
It's Florida.
Well, yeah. It'll rain and stop and be like 100 degrees in the next minute, so. Yeah. Because that was a leg quarter. That wasn't too bad. It's kind of juicy, right?
Yeah, no, it is good.
Right off of it. So I'm going to try a bit of the dry rub now, and I'm going to push a little bit of this. You know what? I'm going to take this up and put it back on the grill. Sean, help yourself to any of that you want. So I'm going to chop this up. And I'll shoot it in just a second. All right, so here's the dry rub that I just chopped up, and we're gonna sample a piece of that. You ready, bro?
Excellent. Let's go.
All right. Guess first. Well, Sean's hitting his first. He didn't even wait. I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3, go, you know. So.
This one's good.
Oh my God. That's like bun finger hot, but kind of crunchy.
Yep. As dry would imply, you can tell it's a dry rub. It's a little drier, though it's still moist, the meat that is.
Mm-hmm.
And the heat's up front for sure.
Oh my God. I sincerely got to say, wet would probably win right now because
they're both wet.
God's answering the question here. Wet, wet, wet. You know, but this is jerk chicken, so man alive, that's good. This little one here. That is moist. This before. So here's what we got going on here. We got to the left, we got the wet. To the right, we got the dry. So Sean, grab a piece and let's figure this bad boy out. So pull a link out of that. See how it just kind of peels off real easy. So I think my piece is big, but I'm gonna devour this all on its own. So put this down and we're both, and yeah, it is raining, but.
Very moist.
Yeah, and I've made some of my best barbecue in the rain.
Very, very good.
So that was the wet.
Whatever reason, the wet really earns the reputation between bringing us rain and the meat stays very moist.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, man, the wet was nice. So let's try the dry. You ready?
Yeah.
Pull a piece there. No, you're good. Grab that, you're good. So this is a dry. The white meat, the chicken breast. I really can't tell the difference. The jerk soak, you know. Wow.
I can because certain spices are enhanced on the initial bite.
Okay.
taste I can smell and taste the, maybe because it's dry, I'm smelling the ginger.
Okay.
And then I get an immediate hit of hot.
Yeah, the Scotch bonnet pepper is gonna hit you. Wow. Thanks for soldiering this with me. It's honestly raining, and let me take these off. It is honestly raining. It's no longer even sunny out. And we're out here eating jerk chicken in the experiment, so if anyone were to be the better one today, for all intents and purposes, I'd say the wet, because we're getting wet while we're eating.
I know.
That's not to say the dry isn't good either. It's just got a different flavor, but the wet just kind of stands out with what we're doing.
Even as the dry gets wet, the wet still wins.
The wet still
wins. In my
wins.
opinion.
There you go. Well, thank you, neighbor.
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate that. And guys, thank you for sticking around. Like I said, we do some strange stuff. It is raining.